I couldn't work. It's hell. I just never thought I was going to ever have kids again. So traumatic. Welcome back to my channel, guys. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my personal battle with Hyperemesis Gravidarum in my first pregnancy and just how horrendous and tough it was. And I haven't really shared this with many people other than my close inner circle. And it's probably because I guess I never wanted to actually put anyone off pregnancy, especially first time mums. But then I realized that actually when I used to look on YouTube for other people's stories and experience of going through this, it made me not feel so alone. And that is one of the reasons why I hope that this video and me talking about my experience and battle with Hyperemesis Gravidarum will just help you feel the same. This video is really for you who is probably going through extreme pregnancy nausea and vomiting, or Hyperemesis Gravidarum yourself. So in 2021, me and my husband got married and we knew we wanted to start a family. We conceived quite quickly after our wedding, and at week 6 is when everything began. And I kind of always heard pregnancy comes with morning sickness, but Hyperemesis Gravidarum is not morning sickness. There is a distinct difference. And I'll put a little table here just to show you, but Hyperemesis Gravidarum is an illness and morning sickness is like a pregnancy related symptom. The two are not the same. And when you have Hyperemesis Gravidarum, it's like an extreme form of whatever people call morning sickness and nausea. It's so debilitating. You can't function. That's just the truth. Like your day-to-day, everyday things you would do, you just can't do them. I'll give you some of the symptoms that I went through. But first, I literally ended up having to go to my GP. They said, okay, let's start you on some, anti-sickness meds. And I'm so sorry. It's such a traumatic time that I can't even remember all the list of medications I was given, but I was given a good number of different anti-sickness meds because there's so many that just did not work for me. And gradually, I was still getting worse. But what I noticed was I was actually losing weight. And that was one of the signs when I knew like something's really off. I remember weighing myself, and within a very short span of a week, 2 weeks or 3, I had lost 11 pounds. And generally speaking, that's quite a significant amount of weight to lose for me in such a short season when you're not trying to diet. So I was on anti-sickness meds. I'm losing weight. I'm not able to go to work because I just physically feel so sick. And I end up in A&E. And that all transpires between week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9. And by week 9, I no longer work. I cannot physically get up. I can't physically get dressed. I am struggling to do basic things like move around the house, shower, brushing my teeth was just hell. I couldn't even dare do the commute. I was unable to keep water down, couldn't open the fridge because every smell of every vegetable, any meat, anything that was in there, I was just puking. It was just constant vomiting. I had to stay in my bedroom literally to shut myself off from smells, sounds. It was just horrendous. Use the comments and tell me if any of these symptoms are similar to what you're experiencing, because it affects every part of you. I remember actually quite quickly by week 7, I ended up in A&E because they thought, okay, maybe she's having an ectopic pregnancy. And they were like, we need to do an internal vaginal examination. And I was like, okay, maybe that is the answer. Maybe that is what's going on with me. Something's wrong, And no, they scanned me and said, oh, your baby's healthy, growing, everything's, all right. So I was like, well, what else is going on? Because I'm like now on IV fluids. I can't keep anything down. And when it's your first pregnancy, you have no idea what you're doing. You just are trusting what the professionals say. It was the first time, I think, that Hyperemesis Gravidarum was mentioned. And I was like, okay, what's the cure? I just want this done. Is there a tablet? What can I do? And unfortunately, the doctors were like, look, even if you do have this and we need to run tests and check your hormone levels and all these things, a lot of this comes down to, managing it with particular medication, anti-sickness meds and different things. But lo and behold, I just said, look, please, any test, whatever it is, let's just, do it. And when it came back, they were like, your hormone is high, but we don't think it's high enough to get into that category. But you do have an extreme form of pregnancy, nausea and vomiting. So we are going to keep you on the IV fluids and, So I ended up staying in hospital on IV fluids and then got released the next day. And I felt much better. I was like, oh my God, IV fluids, whatever meds they're putting in, going straight into your bloodstream. And it just gives you such a relief for like 24 hours, for me anyway, or so, where I just wasn't in the thick of the sickness. It allowed me to be able to eat something. It allowed me to be able to keep some water down. I remember thinking, I can't leave. I don't want to leave the hospital because I don't want to go back home and experience all the hell that I was experiencing. But they said, no, we're going to release you. I ended up going back home. And probably after 24 hours or less, I was back to square one. I was sick. I couldn't keep anything down. All the smells, everything returned. And this just goes on and on and on. And unfortunately for me, I ended up in A&E and needing IV fluids several other times because it just got to a place where my husband was like, I can't leave you in this state. But I think the worst part for me was I remember laying on the bathroom floor and just thinking, I can't do this. I cannot do this. I don't think I'm going to make it through the pregnancy, or maybe I can't go through this pregnancy. And that was the darkest hour for me of the entire experience of having Hyperemesis Gravidarum, because I'm a Christian and I never in my wildest dreams could have imagined that thought of maybe I have to terminate a pregnancy would ever cross my mind. Like, I never thought I could even have such a thought, because I just can't see myself doing that. But the mere fact that the illness brings you to that point of thinking, I cannot cope with how ill I am feeling, that maybe this whole pregnancy has to stop. And I know that there are probably many women who maybe like me, and maybe you have experienced it, where that terrible thought has run through your mind. And I remember being so scared to say it to my husband because I didn't want him to think I was losing my mind, or dangerous thoughts were going through my mind of me doing anything to myself or the baby. So I remember keeping it to myself because I thought he might go and tell the, doctors, or tell some family, and, it might spiral into something else. That's how dangerously sick this illness makes you, that it even can lead you to have those kind of ideas. It's a really dangerous illness to have. Thankfully, in my second trimester, it steadied off. I had medication. Don't feel like the medication did that much, but I started to see this thing is subsiding and the vomiting was decreasing. But it's such a long time to be that ill. My heart goes out to you if you are going through similar, because honestly speaking, unless you've really gone through Hyperemesis Gravidarum, nobody understands just how awful this is. And the worst thing is, it's on a spectrum. So, I can have Hyperemesis Gravidarum at this level. Somebody else can be where they cannot leave the hospital for the 9 months because they have got it at such a high level. They have to be hospitalized for the whole period of their pregnancy. And I'm thankful that that wasn't my story and that wasn't my case. I just want to say, if anything I've said in this video even resonates on one little level and you are going through what I just described or something similar to what I've described, I pray that you actually just go and advocate for more medical support, because there is so many medical professionals who just have very little knowledge on how debilitating this can be, or very little empathy and compassion for us women who are going through it. My own experience let me know that even women in the medical field were just very like, it's morning sickness, what do you expect? Like, that was the kind of attitude I heard. And I'm like, no, this isn't morning sickness. Yes, this is my first pregnancy at the time. Yes, I had no experience of it. So you're like, okay, I guess this is morning sickness. But there is a point where no, this shouldn't be happening. I really want to recommend you check out a website called www.pregnancysicknesssupport.org.uk. If you are experiencing anything that I've described, it's a really good website that you can look at just to familiarize yourself with some of the symptoms, but also some of the support and things you can access, and medications. Even if you're not in the UK, it's still worthwhile using that website and then going to your own medical professional to say, hey, this is something I've researched and they, suggested maybe this medication may be a good thing. It's worth it. You also think about asking for support. My husband, I tell you, he's sent by God. He's just such a blessing. And if you don't have a very supportive partner through this process, then please, if you can, find a friend or family member, but you need support. Don't be alone in this season, because it's such a vulnerable time anyway to be pregnant. But on top of that, to be pregnant and experiencing extreme pregnancy sickness like Hyperemesis Gravidarum is just another level. So please, please, please reach out to support services. And if you haven't got a friend or a family member or someone that you know is in your corner, then I would again recommend that you seek like therapeutic services so that you can even just talk through with somebody who has a bit of empathy and hopefully some training in being able to support you, because this affects your physical health, but your emotional and mental health, oh my gosh. I mean, this affects your financial health. This affects you on so many levels. And if you are in any way resonating with anything I've shared in this video, then I just hope that you will take whatever steps you can to support yourself, look after yourself in this season, ask for help, advocate for what you need. My battery has just died, so I'm gonna have to end this video here. Please use the comments below to just encourage other women who might be going through this condition. And of course, please do like and subscribe. This helps to push the video out further to women who really need to hear this. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.